It's the DownbeachBUZZ Podcast. And now, without further ado, Sherry Lilienfeld, a.k.a. Sustainable Sherry from eXp Realty. Sherry, I think a new listing here. It's a property that you're representing. Tell us all about it, please.
Yeah, so you know how I always talk about how we really need more inventory, less than a million and a half. This property is actually less than $1 million, and it's a fantastic location. So as you say, without further ado, let me get into it. So it's 2 North Newark Avenue. And if anyone likes Sunday's ice cream, it's right there by Sunday's. So you're right there. Also, the tanning salon is there if anybody goes there. But the asking price is $949,000. Now, what's so interesting about this property is it's actually a duplex. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath downstairs, and then upstairs is 4 bedrooms, 2 bath. I think this property was once one house, but it is a legal duplex. I have all the paperwork showing it for its non-conforming use. So it also has a very big lot and backyard. It's a 38 by 76 lot. So nice size yard, plenty of options back here to do something. And that garage that you see in the background, that belongs to the property. Here's just showing you where it is. It's one house in off of Ventnor Avenue, and right across the street is Sunday's. So this is the first floor unit. It's very big, open area, very high ceilings, higher than your typical. They're about 9 or 10 feet. It's really high, large kitchen. As you can see, this has all been updated in the last 5 or 6 years. This whole downstairs was redone. And here's just another perspective of it. This is all the downstairs unit. Really, really nice unit. This is one of the bathrooms. So again, it's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. This is one of the bedrooms. There's also a little sitting area off both bedrooms. One is, I'll show you in a little bit. This is the sitting area off one of the bedrooms. This is the other bath, the other bedroom. And then also they use the sitting area for an office. So really great space, really great location. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, high ceilings, large open living area. So this is the second floor unit. This was all recently redone. And what I want to show you has a very large deck. Everybody loves their outdoor space. This is a great deck. And just go through a couple of bedrooms here. This is a sitting area on the 3rd floor. So in addition to the 4 bedrooms, there's a little sitting area. So funny. The owners tell me that one of their daughters loves to sleep in this room. She likes a little room. So it can be used as like a den with a sofa that opens up, or a futon. It's just one of the bathrooms. But anyway, yeah, sorry, I closed out. But that's it. I mean, so what I wanted to say about it is, so this house can be used, like if somebody wants to rent out one of the units and use the other, it's a great option to do that. The current owner, their parents use the downstairs condo and the family is upstairs. It's just really good if you have like a large family, but you want your privacy. Let's say you have teenage kids. The last people I showed it to, they were joking. They're like, I'm going to put the kids downstairs and I'm going upstairs, or I'm going downstairs and they could go upstairs. But there's a lot of options for either renting one unit and using the other, or obviously you can rent out both.
Can you tell us more about this bathroom? Because it seems like we're lingering on the bathroom. What do you think?
Oh, sorry.
No, I like the shower. No, I'm a big fan of the shower curtain, so I didn't know if you were trying to.
I do like the shower curtain. My daughter is actually in Africa right now. So yeah, I like the elephants. And anyway, yeah, so this is a 2nd floor unit. Well, yeah, but just a lot of options. And again, look at that price point, $949,000. And if you've been looking to buy at the shore at a location that's a little over 2 blocks to the beach, it's close to Walgreens and like I said, Sundays. It's close to a lot of great things, especially the Ventnor Boardwalk. It just offers people a lot of options for either renting part, using both for different family members. There's an office, and I mean, it's just a great property with a lot of options, and it's a nice size lot. Look, someone could buy it, use it, rent it out for a few years, and then at some point maybe knock it down and build something.
What? Knock it down.
Well, people do that.
What do you now? What would I hate to say this, but you think somebody's eyeing this up just to bring a bulldozer in on day one? There is a fear, at least with sustainable sherry, right?
We got 4 offers from builders right away.
What does that tell you?
They're still looking for lots. They're still looking.
I bet you better get over asking from those guys circling the property.
Well, look, builders have to maximize their profit. So
yeah, well, quite frankly, who's more important, the residents or the builders? Why do we care about the builders so much? Why do we care about the builders so much? Because, well, there's put a lot of people to work, right? But how many of those builders live in Margate and Ventnor? Actually, the actual employees that are hammering and nailing stuff down.
Oh,
Penny,
the
that's just a
employees,
thought.
not really, but actually, I do know some builders who literally move every 2 years. They'll build a nice house, a nice big house. They'll live in it for 2 years, and then they move their families, because then you don't have to pay capital gains when you sell it if it's a primary resident.
Because Cher, I've been following what you talk about. You try to hold on to as much of the traditional real estate as you can. Now, granted, you have to, time moves on. You have to embrace the future. But, I'm starting to be like a sustainable, saying, hold on here. This is a beautiful, classic, older home. Why is there no market for the average Joe? But 4 developers are coming in. And what about zoning and planning? I'm pretty sure that Margate spoke a few years ago saying, we got to protect residential too. We got to attract more families, more people. I don't think they got around to that. Because one day I'm going to show that video again where the commission was telling the planning board, you got to do something to attract and retain families. We can't chase everybody away or have everybody cash out. Now, I like the idea that the sellers are going to make some good money, but that's very telling, Cher. 4 developers immediately said, we'd like that. I'm assuming they're not buying it so they can live in it.
I would guess not. I mean, I think, their radar is out for anything listed for less than $1 million. And this has a nice size lot.
Yeah.
So right away, they're like, wow, it's a 38 by 76 lot. I'll make an offer. I mean, it's crazy. You used to be
well, let me ask you this. Do you think it's good? Do you think this is what we're describing here is good for the community, for the city of Margate, having 4 developers immediately try to snag this property? Do you think it's good for the city?
Well, in terms of the tax basis, right? If they get a more expensive home or 2, this is a duplex. They get 2 homes out of it. That helps the city. The residents don't necessarily see the benefit. I know that's where you go. It's funny because I was speaking with Steve Giesecke, who's the chair of Sustainable Margate, and he's also on the planning board. And we were just talking about some of the development in Margate, and we were just both lamenting how enough is enough. It's so sad. And if you're looking in the commercial district, this is what we were talking about, the property that's being built where Billy Ho's used to be, the Chinese restaurant. And I said, why is there no pervious space around it? Why are they building it right up to the end of the property line? He goes, commercial district. That's what they do in the commercial district. And I get it because, your storefronts you want right up to the sidewalk. right? When you think about any commercial district, but just seeing it, because there used to be a big parking lot. There used to be so much space around that building. And all I see is the cinder blocks going up all around that lot. And I'm like, this is really bothering me. And he goes, I can't stand it. And he's in the planning board. He's been trying to fight it. And he has been here his whole life. Like, he saw Margate when there were trees everywhere and nice cottages. He has really seen the change. I've only been here 23 years, but yeah.
So who benefits the most from this development? Because on the surface, it seems like, hey, it's progress. There's more money coming in, but they keep raising taxes. And the looming reval is going to shake things up. I'm telling you, it's that FOMO, that fear of missing out. Everyone's diving in, developers. That is disappointing and sad. Only for developers. I mean, it's good. It's interest. And hopefully you're going to get well over asking for those bastards, you know. But getting back to the developers, who is in charge of the town? Most people would say builders and developers control these towns. It's a fact. But why the planning and zoning boards? They're supposed to control growth and the direction and the master plan being developed. I'm telling you, thankfully, Mr. Collins, our illustrious mayor, finally, after many years, because the other mayor hated the internet and Zoom and all that stuff. Now we're seeing them making decisions. I don't think the people of Margate and Ventnor, but specifically Margate, I don't think they truly appreciate, a couple people do, how important it is to watch live video of your elected officials, the people that are spending your money, to see them in action. I'm telling you, everybody better watch it, because they're building. The real people who are making money are the builders and those who whack up the ratables. It's not helping the residents because your taxes keep going up. Just keep that in mind. And one day we'll talk about, should we outbid everybody? Should we send out to bid for, well, I'm not even going to go there. I'm just saying, you can see why the former mayor, Vaughn Riedel, got ticked off the other night, and he got up there on the mic and he just started to say, why are we hiring people investigating each other? Why are we letting Margate employees sue each other? How stupid. But what am I, I'm just, I'm a troublemaker.
It is mind-boggling how such a small town can have so much drama. Like, we're a really small town, and there's ridiculous amount of drama. I just like spin my head around, like, what the heck is going on here? But to your point, yes, people should come to meetings as much as they can. You can find the schedule and the agenda on the municipality website, whether it's Margate, Ventnor, Longport, Brigantine, Atlantic City. Now Margate does have live Zoom meetings, but it's not easy to find the link. But you should check the page that has the agenda. And yeah, people need to come to a meeting. Anyway, I know you want to know this.
Yeah. So if you go to the front page of DownbeachBUZZ.com, we have an updated story on the rebuild of the Ventnor pickleball and tennis courts. Are we going to get more pickleball courts? I don't know, maybe. So read that. I did some diagrams. Like I said, Cher, I always try to volunteer my expert services to the city halls of the South Jersey towns because, you know, they just need help every so often, and I'm very happy to oblige. There's the mayor, Mr. Landgraf, and Mr. Kriebel. Let me zoom in here a little bit. Let me tell you, this photo, the Bermuda shorts and the white belt that Mr. Landgraf is wearing is pretty snappy. I like that a lot.
He needs to go to Florida.
Yeah, my father wears that stuff. It's good. You watch. He'll never wear this again.
I think it's a great picture. Do you see him out on the
No, they don't. Listen, I don't see any of them on the boardwalk. I don't see any of them playing pickleball. Believe me, the only people I see on the boardwalk all the time, and I almost run him over all the time on my bike, is Maury Blumberg. He's walking all the time. He's the best.
Good to know.
He's a good man. So anyway, we got the lawsuit information here. Former Margate mayor wants the business administrator, Pat Moran, to be fired. The guy just started, and he's firing people. So I would highly recommend that you stop in to Down Beach Buzz. Is Lisa, the CFO, McLaughlin, is she happy that I'm using this awesome, beautiful photo of her?
Is that the recent one she sent?
Of course it is, because I keep on getting reminders that I'm showing the wrong one. I think both are gorgeous.
That's a good picture.
Yeah. And do you think Pat likes that photo I use of him?
It's fine.
And how about,
Has he cleaned?
oh, no comment. What about on the left-hand side, the former Margate mayor, Vaughn Reel? That's a very handsome man there.
Good picture.
Yeah. And once again, aren't we happy that Mayor Collins, because Mr. Becker hated the idea of live video, but look at the beauty of the quality of this work. I don't even want to play it because there might be some echo, but just a couple seconds.
Vaughn Reel, 6 North Mansfield Avenue.
Did that echo, Cher?
I had my
And I was talking
microphone
about last
muted.
Thursday, October 9th, by a great accountant that always makes the numbers fit. And then he decided to hire a guard dog. And within the first 11 months, the guard dog bites the accountant, bites one of the owners. Eventually, that means you got to get rid of the guard dog.
That's it. Got to get rid of the guard dog. Now look at that quality. Sure. You see Pat Moran here, and he has to face it. He has to take it. And Marty's up here. Maury Blumberg has his hands folded. He's like, whoa. And then of course there's an empty seat because God forbid they sit together. But it might be the COVID 6 feet apart thing. They might still be. Margate's probably adhering to those Dr. Fauci rules, 6 feet apart. So I'm going to give him a break there. And there's the mayor right there, and there's Kathy, but they both stay quiet. They have said nothing, because the gist of this whole video is it seems like somebody decided to spend $5 or $6 grand on a private investigator and stuff and start suing people. All right, my blood pressure's going up.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this, or are you just shaking your head saying, what the hell is this?
Like I said, we're a very small town. There's a lot of drama for some reason.
Now, the beauty of video is, let me get rid of this little thing here. Maybe I can't even find it. There we go. The beauty of video is I could actually teach people and educate people who's who. Because for years, I had no idea who I was listening to, because Margate would have a real crappy audio of their meetings. You can't figure out what the hell's going on. But now it's beautiful. This is called full transparency, where you can see who's talking. And I got to give credit to Pat. He walked into the lion's den. But man, even Nanette Lobiondo Galloway on downbeach.com wrote a long story. So everybody's chiming in, trying to identify what the hell's going on in Margate, but the press of Atlantic City won't touch it. Radio won't touch it. It has to be 2 small, hyper-local sites. Me and my good friend, Nanette Lobiondo Galloway. The more syllables in a name, the better. That's the thing.
I'm wondering where Scott Abbott is at that meeting. Normally he sits to the left of Pat Moran.
Yeah, he's not around. They're getting ready for my other favorite topic. Sometimes just doing this stuff, it's like you get tired of focusing on pretty vile, disgusting things. The good news is Longport working on their park, Beach Terrace Park. That's pretty awesome. Tim McGraw's coming to the Hard Rock. Tim McGraw is the father of Tug McGraw. Anybody know that? And the 6 for 12. So here's the update on the Baglivo thing. It's been going on forever. First off, whoever was involved with this whole Margate Gardens complex, they have to go back to school, mathematics and arithmetic, or get a freaking calculator. 6 or 12. They couldn't figure that out. And we have all the video. 6 or 12. Legal update. Margate zoning officer versus developer Mr. Baglivo. So here's the update, everybody. So the plaintiff, that's Margate's McLarnon, and of course, Sherry, you and your friends and your neighbors are helping to provide financing for those lawsuits. I just didn't want to have you forget that. But anybody from Margate is helping to assist in billable hours for these idiotic lawsuits. So the plaintiff, McLarnon, and Margate has to provide expert reports by September 19th. We assume they did that a few days ago. Defendant, Mr. Baglivo, the developer, Steve Baglivo, he has to provide expert reports by October 20, 2025. All the depositions got to be done and expert depositions completed by November 14, 2025. But here's the big payoff. The firm, these are firm trial dates. The judge has no more time for this nonsense. Firm trial dates have been scheduled for Wednesday, December 3, 2025, 9:30 in the morning. Judge J. Christopher Gibson, County Courthouse, Bacharach Boulevard, Atlantic City. Do you think they're going to settle before this trial? What do you think, Sherry? It always seems to go down like that. I think everybody's guilty in this stupid, moronic, idiotic, plain as day, 6 or 12 Margate Gardens thing. I don't even live in Margate, and I want to vomit in my mouth. Jesus.
I couldn't even guess what's going to happen. This is again our small town. It's so much drama.
I know, it's stupid. I like this. You like that? I should make some t-shirts. Maybe if we do some t-shirts like this, share you and me, and maybe Roz from Jamaican Me Crazy could sell them with these two guys' faces on the t-shirt. What do you think?
She'd probably like that.
She would do it.
She would do it.
She would do it right away. Yeah, that's a good idea. And for those who want to keep up on the lawsuit, Moran versus Margate, another lawsuit. Fun. Do you like my title? Read that title, Cher.
Another Margate lawsuit funded by taxpayers.
I hate doing that to you, but sometimes it's called tough love. Because I'm paying for stuff. I'm paying for stuff that benefits Marty Small and his wife, Laquifa. Come on.
Yeah, crazy.
That's nuts. Before I go on, did you ever watch a Marty Small video?
I sat with Marty Small in a number of meetings. I don't have to watch the videos.
Look at that head. It's a bulbous, it's big, and it's like you pumped it up with an air inflator. It's just full of jelly. There's nothing going on. So I watched a little bit of the Stockton debate the other night. It was pretty horrible, but here's a few clips if you don't mind.
Mr. Small, you're currently facing criminal charges. Understanding that you're entitled to due process and you've maintained your innocence, how will you handle your duties as mayor if the trial results in a conviction or otherwise limits your ability to serve? What would you say to voters who question whether the charges compromise your ability to lead effectively?
Well, the day that I found out that I was charged, I went on lunch break and I came back the day when they unfortunately and sensationalized a raid on my home. I made sure my wife was fine. I went back to work. The residents of Atlantic City know me, and I haven't skipped a beat. That's how you know your leader can handle a crisis. I've handled the city's crisis through COVID, and I'm handling a personal crisis through myself. 63% of the people voted for Mayor Small, and 63% or more is going to reelect me. So there's no question who that leader is. I show up to work each and every day, and I'm more motivated than ever. You know why? Because a leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And the great city of Atlantic City, as an organization, has never excelled like it has under Mayor Small's leadership, in spite of the politically charged charges that we will overwhelmingly win in court when we have our day. Let's talk about Rocco for a second. We supported that project. As mayor, I want everyone to develop. Rocco said that the mayor is corrupt, that the construction official is corrupt, and I'm offended that an outsider would come in who can't get the job done. And then he said, well, hey, forget Atlantic City. Let the state do it since DCA inspected casinos. Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. The state denied his permits too.
We've had a few
Sure. I just want to say, Margate sends about 30 kids to Atlantic City High School that his wife manages. And your tax dollars goes towards this family, Marty and his wife, Liquetta, both ready to face judgment for allegations of abusing their own daughter. They shouldn't be anywhere near kids. But props to Lance Landgraf and Ventnor. They wrote a letter saying, Miss Liquetta Small, you got to step down until you're found innocent. Ventnor tried. Margate said nothing. And with all due respect, we just hope one day that Kathy Horn, Commissioner Kathy Horn, who works for Liquetta Small, she works for Atlantic City High School as a psychiatrist. We hope that she will stand up for the residents and the children of Margate. Is it safe to send your kids to Atlantic City High School? That's all we're asking. But that's a tough topic, Cher. And I know that, But when I watch Marty Small and I see that both he and his wife control $500 million worth of tax revenue, they run the school district and the city at large. The Smalls they could still be in control. Whatever. And just in case you haven't seen it yet, my good friend, Harry Hurley, he does not like the concept of revals, Cher. Did you hear the audio of him actually telling people, don't let people in. Don't let them in. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying I didn't do it in EHT. I don't think EHT has had a reval in a few decades, Cher. That's a good one.
Wow. That's crazy. That's an interesting point too. Just don't let them in your house.
Now, Stone Harbor now has budgeted for a reassessment. Reassessments are easier to do. Revals are more intimate and invasive. But even Longport has been ordered to do a reassessment or a reval. So has Margate. But for some reason, Margate has some kind of magic protection because Margate doesn't seem to be too nervous about anything. They just have connections. Maybe it's Vince Palestina, my good friend Vince, the senator, who just has ins to protect Margate. I don't know. I just make stuff up. I just pull stuff out of my tuchus.
You're
But
so
if
funny. Wait, you're like, I'm not going to bring up anything controversial.
Yeah, but this is all true. Sharon, you know what we said earlier. Do you know all the stuff we've been talking about for the past year or two? Even though it sounds insane, like we're wearing tinfoil hats, or we're conspiracy theorists, or we're haters, or doomers and all that, I would say about 99% of it came true.
We're very good at what we do. I talk about the relevant news.
And this all started from you revealing somewhat. There's 4 developers are interested in buying that older home. Is it a Cape Cod or something? What is that? What is that design? A bungalow? That's not a bungalow, but it's
a three-story structure.
But it was sad to know only developers were interested because that could have been a somewhat affordable home for 2 people to rent or to live in, a family, because it's a sizable place.
It's still available for a family.
But I'm telling you,
yet.
Zoning has to do their job and protect. You can't turn everything into a 4-story McMansion with decks everywhere and no setback and pools. What are you doing? And you know what's interesting? They talk about how great that is. Man, we got all this money pouring in. Yeah, but it's not benefiting the community. It's just not. You're just doing Washington Avenue, Cher. That's a total waste of space, a waste of time and money. The only reason why they're doing the Washington Avenue one way or trying to is because there was grant money available. But they still have to chime in and spend some of your money, your tax dollars, Cher, on a project that's not needed. Same thing with the gas station. I can't believe that Collins got away with that, but he got away with it because there's so few voters that can vote him out. Because if we had a lot more full-time voters, Collins would be nowhere near that seat being the mayor of Margate. And Maury would be the emperor of Margate, and we would like that. At least for one term, we would give Maury a shot, right?
I'm not commenting.
I know.
I wanted to say something of Marty Small.
Okay, go ahead.
It's like he presses a button and he says thing. It's a great day. Atlanta's fabulous. I did all these things. I went to the 9/11 speech. This was not 2025 and 2024. 9/11, somber day, remembering those who perished. And he gets up on the podium and starts with, it's a great day in Atlantic City. Like, are you clueless? This is a memorial service. Like who does that? Anyway.
It's totally shameful. He's a complete boob, but he's a very good politician. He knew how to give out jobs. He spent $5 million on a fountain dedicated to the former lieutenant governor. It was a nice gesture, but $5 million, that could have been used to hire cops. He spent $750,000 on a bus for seniors to go places, take kids places. That's a pretty cool idea. Why do you have to buy it? Why don't you just charter buses all the time? Because he had a lot of money to spend. Marty and LaQuetta Small are so bad for Atlantic City, it will never turn around. It will never become a great city again, maximized greatness. With those two nincompoops in charge, they're that bad. Marty Small the other night at Stockton literally said, I got Chief Sarkos, the PD of Atlantic City, Chief Sarkos. I told him we need more cops in the neighborhoods. He wants them away from the tourism district or the 5th and 6th Ward, Lower Chelsea. He wants to have more cops in the areas that give him votes. It's the truth. Marty only cares about votes. This guy is so bad. He has a violent background. If you'd like me to show some videos, he's a big bully who never had a father kick him in the ass growing up. That's really true. He had no father figure to kick his ass. He had all women surrounding him. Oh, Marty, you the best, Marty. Oh, Marty. He's a big fat moron, and he became a pretty intimidated basketball star. That's the only thing Marty has going for him. And LaQuetta Small, she wears the pants in the family. I don't know if her name is LaQuetta or LaQuifa. I don't know what the hell it is. All I know, they're bad. They're both are bad. And I don't even know if their daughter is still living with them. If the daughter's not living with them, that means there's a problem. They had to be separated. But for some reason, LaQuetta is allowed to still be the Atlantic City school superintendent. Jeez. You better pray. Even if you hate Jack Chittarelli, you better pray he wins. Because otherwise, these two idiots are going to wait till you see what happens.
Really? Tell us how you really feel.
Listen,
Don't get emotional.
All I know is when I go off like this, we get an awful lot of views. But when we're talking about rates and inventory and median prices, it's just like people are like, oh. But when all of a sudden I take a little truth serum, actually I don't need truth serum, Cher. I just look at a picture of this fat idiot, and I'm telling you, he is an idiot. There's nothing redeeming about him. He's bad. He's bad. He's walking back the whole cannabis thing now. He wanted Atlantic City to be the cannabis capital of the East Coast. Now he's saying we need a cap of maybe 15. All the 15 cannabis stores inside of Atlantic City are not doing well because they decriminalized weed on the boardwalk. Who's going to go buy expensive weed in a store when they can buy it on the boardwalk? They could sample it on the boardwalk. You better pray. Even if you hate Chittarelli, you better pray he wins. And I mean that. God. Sometimes you got to hold your nose and vote for somebody who's going to keep you safe. But Marty Small in charge and getting permits, building permits. Could you imagine working with Marty Small, trying to build something? But for some reason, will Jared Kushner, will he actually break ground and build those 185 apartment units down there at the former Starnes and Caspian Point Share? Just to follow up on that, because that could be a great development. And one more point, tie into the Bader Field idiotic. Am I insane? But everybody should be going, what the hell are you putting a racetrack in between luxury condos at Bader Field? Who thinks that's a great idea? Marty Small does. A racetrack, Cher, a racetrack. Plus, you're in the middle of nowhere. Bader Field. Would you want to live in Bader Field no matter how nice it was, knowing there's a racetrack outside your front window? Who the hell? Why are we talking about that, Cher? Sustainable, Sherry, I can see why you want to just work on sustainable environmental things, because all this stuff can drive you to drink.
Well, the noise
pollution
and the air pollution from racetrack. Really? All right. Well, tell us how you feel. You gotta calm down.
I know, but you see how part of me really does not like covering these stories, because you cannot believe how elected officials and people we entrust with our tax dollars, you get to see what they're doing. And that's all it is. They want to be elected because they get to decide how to allocate your tax dollars. And when they get more and more tax dollars, and when builders and developers are running these towns, was that a pretty controversial thing? Builders control the Jersey Shore. I can make a valid argument with that, can't I?
Oh, for sure. They definitely do control the Jersey Shore.
Do you think I'll make any friends by saying that often? Listen, we need builders. But the point is, there has to be some rules, and that's where the zoning board steps up.
Yes, there needs to be rules. 100%.
I want to elect Steve Giuseppe. Steve Giuseppe as Mike Richards. Mike Richmond is a really good guy, honorable guy. He's the only guy.
Yeah.
The only guy I think I totally trust up there.
Okay. Wow. I think we got enough of these very non-controversial topics. So.
No, I just think that, like I said, I really mean that. We get more views when we talk about topics that we know are true, but nobody wants to talk about them. And sure, all I care about is that you and Zach, your loving husband, have a fruitful, bountiful, financial, successful retirement. I'm helping you build your nest egg because I see your comfort with the love of your life, Zach. You both of you together. I want to make sure that your funds are overflowing, and that is why DownbeachBUZZ is at your service.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You think Zach is going to enjoy this little piece? Does Zach like when I talk about him often?
Yes.
Does he really? Because he's like your number one online stalker, right? Anytime you're on, he goes, "Oh, that's Sherry. That's my wife."
He does work during the day. We'll watch the feed later on.
And do you think if Zach was here right now that I would ask him appropriate questions about what he's finding when he's doing home inspections?
I think we need to have Zach on to talk about home inspections, especially home inspections on new construction. There's so many things he finds on new construction.
So stop right there. So most people think that with new construction, you may not need an inspector.
That's right. Can you close that screen though? To say after.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
A lot of people think you don't need a new construction home, but you really need it for your punch list for the builder. And think about it. Builder has multiple contractors come in, and one doesn't know what the other one's doing, so they think certain things are done. For example, you get a new air conditioning system put in. It's put in the attic, and the drain for the air conditioner has to be connected to something, right? But let's say someone forgot to connect that drain. Simple thing could be a disaster. That you start running the air conditioning in the summer, the water starts pouring down through everything. I mean, that's like a little thing, but you need home inspection to do your punch list, and it helps document it. And then after the 1 year,
you know what? I think those builders that are outside right now, they're actually listening to the podcast.
They are. Do you hear it? Yeah,
they're getting angry what we're talking about, so they're trying to disrupt you right now.
They are. So anyway, we should have Zach on or another home inspector to talk about.
So let me before it gets too busy. The workers out back at your house are probably back from lunch. So let me ask you a couple questions real quick.
They're right above me.
They're just making a lot of noise. So let me get this question out as fast as possible. So are you telling me that new construction, you need regular inspections for yourself, home inspectors along the way? One would assume that new construction, everything's perfect. Is that a misunderstanding to new home buyers?
Yes. So a lot of times people think it's perfect. There are inspections that can happen along the way. Zach has been hired by some people to just make sure, like the hot and cold pipes aren't switched behind the walls, and like stupid things, that there's insulation where it needs to be. There's a lot of things that can happen along the way. If you're building a property, it is a good idea to have an inspector inspect at different phases. But at the very minimum, before you purchase it and the keys are transferred, you should have an inspector do a walkthrough and do your punch list. I hear the banging.
Wait, what are they building upstairs? A brand new love nest for you and Zach, a much bigger, a rotating bed and everything. What are you building up there?
I'm not building any. I'm just replacing the floor. But they're replacing some of the subfloor.
You should do for you and Zach, if I could. You should do a his and her side-by-side shower or something like that. Something romantic.
Okay, now you're.
That's what it is. You make it like you're doing something. You're doing something upstairs that you don't want to really let people know because it has something to do with the comfort of you and Zach.
No, it's a floor. I'm doing the floor. As a matter of fact, Zach didn't want to do the floor. It's for my comfort because he thought the floor was fine, and I'm like, it's not. We're redoing it. And just so you know, this is a good point because I contacted the city and I asked them, do I need to pull a permit? I'm just replacing my floor and some of the subfloor. And they sent me a form that I did have to fill out because they want to keep track for flood insurance, how much improvements you're doing on your property. But I mean, this project is very minimal compared to the value of my home, yet I still had to fill out the form. So there is a form people need to fill out no matter what kind of work.
How many people know that a simple form is needed in Margate just for replacing a floor? I would never imagine that.
I didn't imagine it either, but because, we've talked about the whole idea of permits and things like that, I thought, well, let me just call Palma, my friend at the building department. And yeah, they have an actual form to fill out when you do any kind of work. Like I thought if you just replace something like a vanity or, you're not doing plumbing, major plumbing or electrical, you're replacing something. I'm replacing my floor. There's still a form to fill out. Yes.
Do you think Palma and Roger and the mayor, do you think they're concerned about, do they really have a handle on permitted properties and if they're properly permitted? It's not even if they wanted to be 100% compliant with, making sure everybody gets proper permits, that's almost an impossible task. They would have to hire an army of inspectors, would they not?
So this form isn't a permit. It's just to keep track of it. So there is no inspection. Again, just to know, I don't know, let's say my floor was made out of gold. And it was a lot. Then I'd have to raise my house to a certain level, but it's not. But anyway, it's just to keep track of it. But look, every township, unfortunately, there's lots of people that do work on their homes. And unfortunately, a lot of contractors do work and they should be getting permits and they don't. So it's not just the homeowners. They depend on their contractors to say, we need a permit for this and to get the permit. But that doesn't happen sometimes. It's not just Margate. You can't single out Margate. It's everywhere.
And of course, as you know, even somebody that works for Margate, Margate inside City Hall, sometimes they don't get permits to work on rebuilding City Hall. Remember when that happened? Where actual employees of Margate working inside City Hall did not get proper permits to maybe refurbish an area of the municipal building. So even Margate employees dropped the ball. How's that? Okay. Sure. What?
We're not picking on Margate. Okay. I'm saying this happens everywhere. Now you stop because I live in Margate and there's lots of wonderful things about Margate. And, you may not agree with the way our commissioners and mayor handles things, but there's other things that they've done that I really like. So.
And can we just a quick rundown of those, please? I'm going to take notes here. Hold on. More parking near the hardware store and Down Beach Deli. That's a plus.
Oh, can you hear that noise?
What are you moving cat? What are you on a cattle drive?
Okay, that's my signal. It's time to go.
Now you got something else going on up there. That you're
No, I
claiming it's a
don't.
fifth floor.
I swear to God, no. He ripped the subfloor up, and
It's too much information. I don't want to. That's where Zach hides all his money. He's trying.
We're putting a safe under the floor. Yes, you caught us. Okay, enough.
Now listen, no, Margate has done great things because they had more money. But all I'm saying is sometimes would the Washington Avenue one way be considered a great thing?
So it was in the master plan. Some city planner came up with it, but didn't they at the last meeting decide that they were going to do a survey to residents to see how they feel about it? Which I think is a great idea because there is a lot of controversy, and they do want to get input from people.
Who's going to do the survey? I'm just asking. Who's going to do it? Seriously, who is doing it?
I don't know. I missed that meeting because I happen to have been away. Every now and then I like to get away.
Yeah, but you had access to it via the internet with Zoom. So why didn't you take advantage of that remote access?
Because I was unplugging my mind, my phone, my computer. It was
So when you watch the video of that last meeting, Commissioner Maury Blumberg asked Mr. Pat Moran, the business admin, did you achieve what we requested, the last meeting, and that is doing a survey from people. Should we really do a one-way Washington Avenue? And Pat said, no, I'm sorry, I just didn't do it. Now, does that mean he's going to do it? I don't know. But when you watch the video, it was brought up. Maury brought it up.
Pat Moran stopped in our last green team meeting, and he did ask us from a green team perspective, what do we think about what they're proposing on Washington Avenue? And I mean, one of the things I said is, I actually think you can make it nicer from, the trees and the sidewalks and things like that without making it one way. I do think making it one way is going to be a problem for the streets next to it. You hear all this banging, right? For the streets next to it.
That's somebody, I think that's somebody trying to get out, try to escape from your house.
You caught me.
Maybe that's somebody who's, I don't know. I don't want to make any jokes about developers and builders, but hopefully Zach is keeping an eye on that builder upstairs, right? Will he inspect the work? I'm sure he does.
Oh, yeah. He comes by and he walks through and he takes his pictures.
Is he really doing that? Does he?
Well, he does that, but I'm the one who's actually managing the work.
Does he charge you for that? And he comes. Yes, because you hired him to be the inspector, and I'm assuming, just respectfully, he should, either charge you or waive the fee.
So he has this joke whenever he does something for me. He goes, that'll be $17.50. But sometimes he'll say, but I'll waive my fee. But that's his joke. Whenever I ask him to do something,
I say that to you all the time.
Yeah, you do.
When I call you at 7:00 in the morning, I give you a full hour of my time. I don't think you can afford the $200 per hour of expertise, but I waive my fee on occasion.
I heard, I had learned that whenever you do something for free for someone, you should always let them know, hey, sometimes normally I charge for this, but for you, I'm doing it for free, because people don't appreciate it unless they realize like you're cutting them a break. So
now imagine if I charged Mayor Collins for my expertise, because we talk about how to make all these towns better. And quite frankly, Brigantine, Atlantic City, Lower Chelsea, Ventnor. I'm telling you, when you do talk about what they're up to and show video, I find that towns do sit up a little straighter. I do find that when there's people watching, they kind of fly straight and narrow. Not that they're always bad. And quite frankly, none of these towns are malicious, but there's nobody kind of pushing back a little bit saying, hey, you shouldn't really spend money there. Because I'm telling you, when there's grant money available, you might think, oh, that's a great thing. It's grant money. But then you, as the taxpayer, you got to chip in a few $1 million. That doesn't get discussed very often. And of course, Mr. Abbott, Scott Abbott, the solicitor, he can always talk about stuff like, well, this town is worth billions in ratables or assessed value or valuation, whatever. But how does that benefit the actual taxpayers? Lower taxes? No. It's just going towards big salaries. Many people deserve good salaries, especially cops and firemen and lifeguards. I think they should be paid top of the pay scale. But they spend money on stuff that, might go to friends and family and contracts that we don't really need it. It happens everywhere. And there's very few voters down here. There's very few voters. They don't care, because what are you going to do? Vote them out of office? No, it's not going to happen. So that's the good thing about living down the shore. It's beautiful down here, but just because they're building McMansions everywhere, it does not mean it's going to financially benefit you. It's going to make it tougher for those who are not multimillionaires to live down here.
Your point about, though, like they'll say, oh, we had a grant for this, but you're right. It doesn't usually cover the whole amount. Like, even though there's a grant, we still have to put money. We still have to have skin in the game and put money into a project. So that's the part that I'm not saying Margate, people, in politics in general don't necessarily bring up unless it's asked. And I have been when that parking lot came up, when I was at meetings, there were people asking, those questions. So how much are we putting in? How much is the grant? How much is this really costing us? Sure.
And I think, they've been working on this for over 5, 6, 7 years. Back bay dredging, right, Cher? During low tide, you can't get your boats out. You can't go on the aqua park. So it's interesting. I think they're making headway. They're getting some permits from the DEP. I think they're a little bit further down the line of where they're going to get rid of these spoils. The dredge, they call them dredge materials, but Cher, they're spoils. There's oil, there's runoff. It's all kinds of muck, and it's all being stirred up and trucked off somewhere, or somewhere in the back bays of Ventnor where there's a big giant hole, Shelter Island or whatever. But it's nasty stuff. Let's keep on calling it spoils, because that's what it is. But who's going to pay for all that dredging, Cher? Any idea? Who's going to pay for that dredging? And maybe more importantly, Cher, if I could ask you with all due respect, who's going to benefit the most from that dredging?
The people who have boats and property on the bay.
And do we know who owns those properties? Why do you laugh?
Listen, here's the other part. No, but there's a park there. No, because this is an important part of our tourism and what brings money into our city. Those restaurants, that water park, those are all benefits to the community for people that live here. So even
who does it really benefit?
Oh my God, is this a trick question? Why don't you answer the question? Who? You tell me.
All I'm saying is that people have to realize that their tax dollars should be adequately allocated and not just always going to, a very small amount of beneficiaries. That's all I'm saying. It might sound good that I'm going to knock down that beautiful home that you're listing, an older home nonetheless, but it could house 2 half-decent families. It could be a rental for a mom and pop, but they're gonna bulldoze that thing possibly. And they're going to build something that's going to be as big as possible with the least amount of setback. And it's going to be assessed at a very much higher value. You might think, it's going to be great. But it's who really benefits? Well, the builders. It's good for the builders. Yeah, but the builders, the actual men on the construction site, they don't live in Ventnor and Margate. Even cops and firemen can't afford to live in Margate and Ventnor. So it sounds like I'm beating up on these towns, but I'm just highlighting the fact that taxpayers have almost zero transparency inside of how, for decades, a small group of people are whacking up your tax dollars. And for the longest time, it's been fine. But man, once we had the internet get turned on, you get to see what's really going on, especially over time when there's so few voters. Cher, that's really what it is. There's so few voters down here. I don't really hear you, though.
Oh, sorry. I was muting it because of the noise.
And you didn't want to hear me go off on taxes and voters and all that.
Whatever. I didn't want you to hear all the banging, but that's the way it is in a lot of shore communities. The majority of the property owners can't vote. So a lot of shore communities are like that.
We've been talking for an hour, and I got it all off my chest. I feel pretty good about it. I probably will regret something I said, but probably not. But that's what people watch. I notice, Cher, whenever we talk about some of these weird topics that you never hear people talking about, everybody's listening to it. They just are.
They like the controversy. Oh, there's a drilling again.
The hell are you doing up there? What are you, building a tunnel?
All right, it's time to go. Oh. I mute it. I have to mute it.
I think Roger McLaren needs to come over right away and see what's going on over there.
I did my paperwork. I'm all legal. I even got a permit for my dumpster that's sitting on my driveway.
Oh, when you see Roger McLaren, our code enforcement guy, could you congratulate him for me? He's the new floodplain manager. It's awesome. Just tell him it's prestigious honor. It really is. The floodplain manager.
All right, you're being smart right now, so I'm not.
Nobody listen. Those are real jobs.
I
They
want to
really
be
are.
paid for that. I'll be the floodplain.
I don't know how he has the time for that. The floodplain manager, whatever. What does that mean? You go out there in the marshes. You go back to Minnie Creek and you hang out for a couple of minutes. Listen, and I know this is what we did.
Minnie Creek. You love that. You know what Minnie Creek is. You love
Because
that.
I don't want to have anybody develop a multifamily property anywhere near Minnie Creek because of, we didn't adhere to the Mount Laurel doctrine or whatever that is, where the affordable housing. That's another topic for another day. But Minnie Creek, now that I know all about it, I just want to be able to build a nice home around the corner from you one day, you and Zach. You invite me over. I could use your pool finally, maybe.
You and Big J.
Did your pool thing get all fixed up? Did that whole... Okay, whatever.
I'm not talking about it.
That's fine. But we have pleasant memories of Big J. We do.
Yeah. No,
But
my pool contractor never followed up.
But dealing with pools, listen, there's so much demand, and we got to get out of here. With so much demand for contractors and expansions and rehabs and pools and all kinds of stuff, there seems to be a lot of demand, but not enough contractors to do the work. Sometimes they're not as, particular, leaving the job. Is that more likely to happen? When you talked about new home construction, you would think it's perfect, but they're probably cranking out homes and they got a bunch of others they got to get to. And where do they find all these workers? There's not enough.
Listen, some contractors are very good about not taking on too much. The contractor who built the home for my client on Franklin, that big home on Franklin, they said that they only do 4 jobs at a time because the GC really does manage all the work, but others have way too many projects going on. So it really depends. Don't generalize, but that's a very important question to ask your contractor if you're going to hire someone. How many jobs do you manage at one time? Very important.
You better get upstairs and see what the hell they're doing up there. Probably destroying the whole entire second floor at the Shea Lilienfeld, where you and Zach are just 2 lovebirds in a nest that is just a vision of gloriousness. Is that a word?
Okay. I don't know. All right. Well, thank you for today. And you didn't stir the pot quite as much as you normally do. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you. Bye.